Okay, so what I'm going to do is, for starters today, is going to go ahead and put together the entire arrangement like we talked about. I'm going to use the intro number one from the sheet from last week, intro number one. Go into the original, the way we did it the first time in the key of D. Go into the key change in the key of G, and then use the outro at the bottom of that page from last week, the tag, which is also in the key of G. So once again, the first intro, intro number one, play it through in the key of D from the very first original arrangement without a lot of the, diminished chords and augmented chords and that kind of thing. Because the idea is really just putting it all together. And once we've got it all together, then you can make those adjustments at any point in time should you want to use the arrangement with the, the diminished chords and the augmented chords and that kind of thing. Okay, so here I go. Got a lot of pages here. Hope I can keep track of all of them. Get them all situated. Okay, so here we go. So using the intro, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Capo second fret 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, there was a couple of little slip-ups in there, but the arrangement did hold together. So that would give you something to play along with, to put the entire thing together. And as I said, you can make any of the embellishments to the arrangement going forward as you're, playing and practicing this. You have enough variety here where you could, I think you realize you could put it together in several different ways, but I just wanted to give you a play along that kind of, puts all the different components that we've talked about, the intro, the rendition in the key of D, transposing to the key of G, and then the tag at the end. Okay, so enough said about that. So what I wanted to look at, get you started on, and it'll be pretty simple. First of all, I'm going to tune back up to because this won't be in drop D. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at a traditional gospel tune that was performed by Mississippi John Hurt. It's fairly simple, but it's fun and it's kind of interesting. It's like a little bit of a history lesson to look back at some of these old original gospel players, these black guys who, in a lot of ways kind of paved the way for the other guitar players going forward. And I'm not going to send a sheet with this one initially, because I just want to get you to start practicing the techniques, because we're going to be finger picking on this one. And I'm using a thumb pick. You don't have to use a thumb pick. You can just use your thumb. When Mississippi John Hurt played this, he just used his thumb, but I prefer to use a thumb pick because I have trouble growing a thumbnail. Anyway, but that really doesn't matter. So the first chord form is going to be in the key of C. So we'll just have a C chord, okay? So you want to put your hand on C. And for starters, I just kind of want to explain, what's going on here. So, we don't have to be necessarily particular about how we put the right hand here. Whatever works for you that's comfortable with your guitar and whatnot. But the main thing we want to start doing is just to pick the A string and the D string while holding the C chord. So we'll just have this. Now I have my palm of my hand slightly muting the strings here, so I'm not getting that. Kind of resting the palm of my hand just in front of the saddle, just to this side of the saddle. So I'm getting a little bit of a muffled sound. Now the three chords in this song are going to be C, G, and F. That's what we're going to be using predominantly on the C chord, is just those two notes as the bass. Then we're going to go to a G chord, and I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to drop from the C to the G like this. 3, 3, kicking out the A string, and these three are open. And we get to the G chord, we want to pick the low E string and the D string. So we're going back and forth like this. So we're on the C chord to the G. Okay, so the other chord we're going to be using is F. When I go to the F, I'm just going to drop down, put my thumb on the F chord here. So I'm going to go from C, bring the ring finger down and the middle finger down. So I have those three fingers like that on the D, G, and B strings, and just drop my thumb for the F. Now when I'm playing the F chord, I'm going to play the same two strings that I was playing when I played the G chord, which is the low E and the D string. Okay? once again, when we're on the C chord, these two strings. When we're on the G chord, these two strings. Back to the C, to the F, back to the C, back to the G, and back to the C. Okay? So, what I want you to do as far as getting ready to play the song is just to go randomly through those chords so that you can kind of pick those bass notes. F, C, G, back to C. So, like I said, the main idea is just to start working on that technique with the thumb. So I'll play through the C chord, the G chord, and the F chord, wherever you want to play them. And just said you want that thumb, the main point in not putting a lot of music into this now is you just want that thumb movement to become second nature. So you don't really have to think about it as you go through the chords. C, these two strings, G, those two strings, C, those two, F, those two. And just get so you can switch them on the beat. Once again, the left hand is just going from C to G, back to C, and then to F, back to C, F, and once again, this is just random. So when you're practicing it, use a thumb pick or your thumbnail, whatever works good for you. Try to get a little bit of a muffle back here against the with the palm of your hand against the saddle there on the bridge, and just get comfortable doing that. If you want to listen to the song, it's Mississippi John Hurt, I Shall Not Be Moved. Okay, and then you'll get an idea of the style that we're targeting. It's it's really old stuff. It's probably from the 60, 70 years ago, maybe even 80 years ago, because this guy was born in the late 1800s and started playing in the 20s, I think. And but it's good music, and it's another look at guitar from a historical standpoint, and also gospel music from a historical standpoint also. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave it. I want you to get comfortable with that, and then next week we'll talk a little bit more about how we're actually going to play the tune. So get that thumb going, and we'll move on from there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.